We're going to Florida, and we're going to bring you back a victory to Jackson. Yeah. God the yard!
What you say now, Chuck? Man, you a plumb fool, man.
Hey, what you say there, Chuck? What you say there, Chuck? Oh, hey, welcome
I
to
can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
Jackson.
Right, mighty quiet. Welcome to the OG Strike.
Hey, I'm gonna be nice right now.
Hey, why? Anyway, welcome to the OG Strike Zone. Bryan Fulford, Marcus Green, Kelvin Rozier. They're at the bottom of the screen, and it's good to be on with you for another Wednesday night. Some good FAMU talk. We are the brothers that cover Florida A&M athletics and culture. All things FAMU, as we are just three rattlers trying to do our best to shine some light in those dark corners of the room and keep a spotlight on the positive things that we are doing. How's everybody doing tonight? Marcus, Kelvin, how's everybody?
Doing good.
There was a relief in that doing good.
Hey, did you hear that Barry White?
I did. You know, I did. I heard that, man. My goodness.
Going good. Yeah, there was a little COVID. Hey, a little COVID came out of there.
Hey, I know.
I ain't know you had it in you.
Yeah. What up, boy? Yeah, indeed. How things going for you, Kelvin?
Everything's going well, man. I'm excited about this game, man. I mentioned before we started the show that I kind of changed my opinion a little bit on the results from last week. Of course, I know it was we're a talented team, and we actually had an opportunity to win. But I'm more positive and optimistic after last week's result, actually. So, but I'm doing well. Everybody's doing well, man, and I can't wait till Saturday to play again.
Exactly. The home opener for our Rattlers is this Saturday, 6 p.m. Ken Riley Field at Bragg Memorial Stadium. So that's we'll get into talking about Ken Riley Day, which will be Saturday in Tallahassee, and we're looking forward to it. I want to thank everybody who took time to watch our post-game show from late Saturday night. Boy,
yes,
late.
sir.
Well, I tell you what, shout out to everybody who watched it live. Shout out to everybody who came in and watched it when you woke up on Sunday morning, like, oh, these brothers did a show. So I know that had to be shot, but we're setting goals, man. We're trying to make sure we do a proper post game after every show, and also hopefully you had a chance to check out the post game press conference with Coach Simmons and Jeremy Musa. Shout out to Josh Padilla for making that happen. Hopefully we get more of those live in-person pressers. That was really good, really positive. Good. We've had 2 of those in a row. So hopefully with the home game coming up, we'll get a chance to have another in-person presser. And that way we can bring you some good video and it'll be positive. I think the media is starving for it. So hopefully we'll see that happen on Saturday. Coming up on today's show, obviously a lot of talk as we're getting ready for West Florida. We'll recap a few bullet points from last week, the USF game, maybe some things that we didn't get a chance to talk about. A lot of awards, not only for the football team, but volleyball, cross country, everybody. We're getting all kinds of recognition for the student athletes, making some making some name for themselves and the program in the SWAC. So we'll get to those. And we'll also open up, I think we'll get an opportunity, hopefully in this show, to give you guys an opportunity. You know, we did it last week where we opened up the video line. And you obviously, if you don't choose the video, you can call in, but we want to hear from you. So hopefully we'll get a chance in hour 2 to talk to Rattler Nation and give you a chance to kind of share your thoughts on the USF game, maybe the West Florida game. Coming up at 8:30, bottom of this hour, we're going to get an insider's perspective on the University of West Florida from firsthand knowledge from Will Kennedy, who is the voice of the Argos. That's the University of West Florida. So we'll get a firsthand conversation with him. We'll kind of find out West Florida. Look, guys, did you know what? I didn't even know this. According to D2Football.com, now I didn't check the other polls. West Florida comes in ranked number 6.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know where they are in the other polls, but
And they're preseason ranked number 8.
Preseason ranked number 8. So
Mhm.
this is in terms of, you know, we've always talked about when you have a highly ranked Division II team, it's almost like playing an FCS level team to some degree. You know, I mean, there's slight differences. Obviously, people always talk about the scholarships, but I tell you what, these upper level D2 teams, shoot, you tell me where the difference is sometimes. So
Mhm.
Absolutely. Hey, as we mentioned, Bryan, I mean, just in HBCU, it's been like 4 D2 upsets already.
Exactly, in the first 2 weeks. So that's definitely something that we will get a chance to talk about. We'll hear from Coach Simmons. I had a chance to be a part of the Monday press conference, and I know he's done the SWAC head coaches press conference. Obviously, he had his show the other day. He spoke at the 220 Club today. So from my accounts, and Marcus, you were saying you've kind of heard that the messaging is very similar in everything that he has been saying lately.
Yes, in terms of the pre-press conferences that were on Monday, you know, he emphasized, you know, playing. I think the fundamentals of the 7Fs. He emphasized them in all 3 press conferences. The one with the local media, or FAMU, the SWAC press conference, coaches press conference, and even the Willie Simmons coaches show that Monday evening. So the fundamentals he thought was a primary key in not being victorious on Saturday, where we know we had 5 turnovers, and he mentioned that the 2 fumbles and the interceptions, he said the first one looked like it was a misread or miscommunication between the receiver and the quarterback. The second one was that screen he threw in the middle, but he thought the fumbles were key. And if, you know, looking back at it, and I know you can't extrapolate a whole lot, you know, like what woulda, coulda, shoulda in terms of things, but it could have been a 14-point turnaround.
Hold on. Yes, we can, because we fans. We can do it. He can't do it. Go ahead.
Well said, Kelvin. Well said. Yes, we can.
Like a 14-point swing, if you think about the 2 turnovers. They just tied the game. We coughed the ball up inside our own 20 on the kickoff return, and then they score again and go up 14-7. And then just before the half, we were marching. I mean, that was like one of the best drives I've seen. Well, I mean, the opening drives the last 2 weeks have been going pretty well, but that was a really nice drive in a 2-minute, but a less than 2-minute in actuality type drill. And we got inside. When I looked at the replay of that specific play, it looked like Marcus Riley's around the 7-yard line.
Yep.
And I think we still had 2 timeouts in our pocket. So that at worst, about 10-point turnaround between the first fumble on the kickoff and then assuming we make the field goal. And at best, it would have been 10-point. At worst, it would have been a 14-point. We would have been within 3 at the half. And if we hadn't fumbled on the kickoff, you know, it could have been a really tight game. So he emphasized that and on all 3 press conferences in terms of making sure we're tightening up those things that we can control in terms of the fundamentals, in terms of penalties, turnovers, and just holding on to the ball.
Kelvin, give you while we're, you know, in the course of talking about these things, I give you an opportunity to talk about what impressed you from Coach Simmons.
Yeah, I'm a man. I gotta give Coach his props, man. I was listening to his interviews, and I thought he was very fair. He gave some coaches speech too now, but he was very fair and insightful in why he was saying the things he said. And from a X's and O's and a coach's standpoint, he was about 99% accurate on all that stuff. So I thought his temperament. I know the two biggest things people talked about was the turnovers and the run game, the commitment to it, and you know he was right. We talked about it even on in the press bar and after the game in terms of, you know, they were run blitzing every first down, right? They were determined not to let us establish a run and get us behind the chains, and they really blitzed probably 70% of the time on second and third down also. And he pointed out that usually when it's a FCS versus FBS matchup, the biggest difference between talent is usually on the line of scrimmage. Now, he did say, and rightfully so, that we're at a point in our program now where this team is deep enough, experienced enough, talented enough that he knew and the team knew that we were capable of making that pulling off the upsets potentially. And just to that point, I point out a few things. The fact that we had 5 turnovers and over 100 yards of penalty and still had a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter was within a touchdown in the last 4 or 5 minutes tell you that from a talent standpoint, we were capable of winning that game. And where our program is. The fact, because you know, you even at our own level, when you put them kind of numbers up, typically you don't win those kind of games, and typically you ain't even in the game. So and then in terms of the turnovers, and I'm gonna speak specifically to the interceptions.
Oh no! Don't lose your signal now. Hold on. Go ahead, Kelvin. Go ahead. Let me make sure we can hear you.
Yeah.
What?
I agree that it wasn't totally. It totally. I don't know why I'm cycling right now, but
because you're giving
it wasn't totally on the quarterbacks.
Yes, because that's why you're going to say it's not about the quarterbacks.
So
it was some get it out. God dog.
So some issues with the receivers and so forth. You know, they didn't help him out in that case. But there's only one thing I will say about that. The percentage, the completion percentage. I was watching the Jets game after Rodgers got hurt, and they were talking about Zach Wilson, and he's pretty much a 55% completion, which is dead last in the NFL over the last 2 years. We still have to get our percentage up, you know, and there's no way around that. And he also talked about, you know, committing and establishing the run and so forth. But I thought he was like honest, fair. I think he was spot on, and I thought overall, our team is in a great position. We'd have played the 2 toughest teams talent wise on our schedule, so it really is his coaching speed at this point. Us coming to giving 3-4 good days of practice every week and focusing on the game plan, not getting big head. Think we the superior team, and so all we got to do is show up with Rattlers in the orange and green. We're gonna win. If we don't do those things, I fully expect for us to win by double digits the rest of the year, frankly.
Let's take a second to hear from Coach, because I had a chance to ask him specifically about the running play and the running game, and just were there any opportunities to possibly, looking back at the film, to change or maybe some things he'd do different. Let's hear from Coach Simmons himself.
The USF game, limited the rushing attack, what type of formations of plays could have been more effective? You know, again, that's a great question. You know, they played a lot of man coverage, which wasn't something they've shown a lot of in the past. They pressured a lot more, you know, than they have in the past. And so I think a lot of it is just us identifying the different fronts they were throwing at us and the different pressures. And it's very difficult to run the ball when a team loads the box and pressures you on every play. And so, what runs we have runs that could have been more effective, possibly, with a little bit more communication, a little bit more decisiveness by the running backs. But again, their game plan was to try their best to make us one-dimensional. And the best way to do that is to just play man coverage, and just really get in the face of our receivers, load the box with bodies, and create more people than we can block, and that's what they committed themselves to doing. So, we took what they gave us. They gave us one-on-one matchups outside, and we were able to throw for 370 plus yards. And so, again, that's a roll of the dice. And with that game plan, if we don't turn the ball over, I think the game plan backfires. I think we throw for a lot more yards. I think it forces them to make some decisions, and we're able to control the game the way we want to. But when you turn the ball over, it really makes that game plan easier, because now we're forced to throw it more because we're behind, and they're a little bit more, we're more one-dimensional. And so I think they had a plan, but I think our self-inflicted wounds really assisted them in that plan. Then I think that had more of an impact on us not being able to run the ball than what they did defensively. Because again, if another team tries that game plan, we protect the ball. I think that game plan backfires.
We're gonna have a new drinking game. Anytime somebody says self-inflicted wounds, take a shot. That's just where we're going these days. It's like, if you hear it, whether it comes from us or anybody with a FAMU, anybody representing FAMU, just self-inflicted. Doggone it. Shot. Take a shot to the head. That's all right. All right, let's kind of just go through quickly some of the game notes just to recap some of those notes here. Of course, FAMU out. Yes, I agree 100% there, Steve. That's the new shirt. Quietly, that's the new shirt, Steve. Be looking for those for homecoming. We're gonna look for some new shirts for homecoming there. FAMU outgained South Florida 393 to 360, including 374 to 234 in the air. FAMU was just 4 of 11 on third down. South Florida was 8 of 19. Individually, well, let me go through some more team stuff. FAMU went 1 of 2 on fourth down, converting on obviously 50%. FAMU racked up 13 tackles for loss and had 6 sacks. FAMU won the time of possession. Yeah, we won the time of possession, 31-47 to 28-13. Some individual outstanding performances. You had Nicholas Dixon had 6 passes and a career high 98 yards. Almost didn't seem like Nick had that many yards, right? Did it? It was kind of a surprise. It was a quiet 98 yards, if I guess, if you could have such a day. Then we had the Rattlers had 3 players with more than 8 tackles, led by, of course, Anthony Dunn Jr., who had 12 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and half of a sack. Isaiah Major recorded 11 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. And then, of course, Johnny Chaney Jr. recorded 10 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. I hate to say it, also a couple of poorly timed penalties as well. I hate to say that, but they are what they are. They were bad timing for a couple of those penalties. So all in all, of course, that was the outcome. Of course, Isaiah's performance earned him Player of the Week, Defensive Player of the Week in the SWAC. And so congratulations to Isaiah, who was listed as a Defensive Player of the Week, along with a pair of guys from Alabama A&M and a newcomer of the week from UAPB. Anything you guys want to add there regarding individual performances? What?
No, UAPB. I had to.
Oh God, there
You,
you
you
go.
don't believe in them, but yeah.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no.
no, we'll get into that because I think they're on the picks this week, right?
We will. Yes. I purposely put
Okay,
them on
all
the
right.
picks. Yeah, we will.
Okay, all right.
We will definitely talk about that. All right. Let's quickly go through roll call here. It's been a minute, so let's kind of go through roll call. First up, the family jumps in there. Kenneth Rose, you got to say what's up to you.
What's up, Ken?
Hey, Bull.
Bull.
Hey, man. Sorry we missed you at the tailgate. Had a few car issues in terms of getting there. Just some unfortunate things, but by all accounts, it looked great. And there was even a lot of money that was raised. So congrats to the Tampa Bay Rattlers, Mr. Kinsey and all those folks, Mike Reed and James Green, all those folks, you Bull, everybody who brought in. I think over 20,000 was raised. Over. I saw Will Packer even rolled through and made a stop. So congrats to.
I think I saw something that updated, revised, that was about 45K total.
Wow. Okay.
Now I don't know if that included Kenya's fundraiser too in that number. Where they raised about 3,000 plus for. I think that was for, and she'll post if I'm wrong, but I thought that was for like cheerleading travel or something.
Oh, nice. Yeah, definitely. Tamara T, good to see you. Hello, good evening. Mary 305, hello, good to see you. Melissa Wilson checking in. Checking in, good to see you. Coach Ferrasi, thanks for checking in. Good to see you. My dog, Double OC, checking in. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Mm-hmm. Chuck Hutt checking in from Monroe, Louisiana.
Monroe. Chuck,
I'd be interested to find out how bent is the state of Louisiana right now with Grambling and Southern. It's got to be bent out that way. Over. Got to be bent.
And they may be over for a while.
Ooh, watch out now. Watch out. We'll talk about that towards the end of the show.
It is what it is. I said what I said.
He said what he said. James Austin, good to have you in there. Jimmy Mack, top of the evening to you as well. Tremaine Ellis coming in. What up, Rattlers? Mr. Campbell, yes, indeed. Yes, we believe. Exactly. A lot of folks are doubting.
They don't know. No. He's making fun of his people.
Oh,
they don't know. You. That was JSU.
Oh.
Love it.
Sweet. Welcome. Thanks for checking in.
What's up, Sweet?
Mac Webb checking in. Good to have you in there. I saw Kenya in there. Edwin Moore checking in. Good to have you as always. Montre Bennett coming in.
What's up, Montre?
Ashton. All right, Ashton. Good to have you.
Ashton, what's up?
Yeah. Good to have everybody. Let's see. Any more new shout outs? Looking real quick as I scroll through. I think I saw somebody in there.
Did you get my man Marcus and Mike Reed?
Let me see. I mentioned Mike Reed. There's Marcus.
Okay.
There you go, Marcus. Good to see you. Yep, I already gave a shout out to I saw Mike Reed jump in there. Definitely. Kenya with an update here. Yes, $3,000 for cheerleaders to travel to the game. Awesome. Hey, I hate to say this. We met on our way to the stadium, and I hate this, Kelvin. And I didn't have the picture. I don't have the picture ready, but we met one of the former members of the Marching 100.
Oh yeah.
The part of the Dirty Dozen from 1974, 74 member. And I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. I thought I would remember it. And but a real cool brother. We appreciate, I know his wife gives him grief. Even sometimes the pastor gives him grief for checking in on the show, a regular on Wednesday nights. So, but we got to talking. Obviously, the band wasn't there at South Florida. and we got to talking about, you know, a lot of talk was about the money, the finances, and all this stuff about band travel. But you know what? We stopped to ask the question, did anyone ask the students? Because while we're talking about the student athlete, or a lot of conversation came up about, hey, the band just went to Houston. The band went to South Florida, right? Hey, well, guess what? Football team traveled too, didn't they? Football team's traveling too. Cheerleaders are traveling too. You know, that was the conversation we were having about the students wanted to be. And I'd be willing to bet a lot of the students want to be a part of this experience and playing, traveling on the road, supporting FAMU, not there to play for USF fans. I know a lot of people asked us, hey, did you guys bring the band? You know, it's funny, Kelvin, people asking us, did we bring the band? I had to look in my pocket a couple times and say, no, I had to leave them at home. But, you know, I bet you anything, the students want to be a part of this experience, being in the SWAC and traveling. And tell me I'm wrong, or you know, show me a poll otherwise. But I know they're students too. But you know, guess what? Our football team, they're students.
That's
cheerleaders,
right.
Cheerleaders, students. But it's all a part of. This is why you joined the 100. You join it to be a part of these game day events. And he was talking about how they would go everywhere. I mean, there was no place that if the football team went there, the 100 went there. When we went to the national championship game in Texas, the 100 found a way to be there. We got to get back to that. We got to find a way to get back to that. And I'm not putting that on any one person per se, but I don't know how we make it work. But we got to find a way to make it work.
Yes, I agree. And band, when the band come to the team, going to the games, they there for team. Yeah, they're there to support our team. So we got to make that happen. Absolutely, agreed.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll talk about that coming up. Hey, let's take our first break of the day, because coming up on the other side, we're gonna get into talking a little bit about our upcoming opponent with someone who's got firsthand knowledge of West Florida, and that's gonna be Will Kennedy. He's the voice of the Argos. That's the nickname, just in case you didn't know. So we'll talk with him about West Florida and what we can expect from this nationally ranked team that has not given up a touchdown yet. So we got to be on our P's and Q's. So we're looking forward to the conversation. Hang out for just a couple minutes, and we'll be back right after these words.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Bryan, Marcus, Kelvin. It's a pleasure to be joined by Mr. Will Kennedy, who is the voice of the Argonauts, University of West Florida, Director of Communications. Will, how you doing this evening?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
Hey, man, we are great. Doing well.
Thank you.
All right, so big time matchup coming up here. It's not too many times that Division II teams get a chance to play FCSs, because in the Division II level, usually there's you probably play more conference games than anything, probably an 8 or 9 game conference schedule. West Florida is a part of the Gulf South Conference, correct? I believe. So why don't we kind of start with just kind of giving us a little background, how long you've been at West Florida. Obviously, you're the Director of Communications, but you also host the Coaches Show, and then we'll kind of get into talking about this team and the expectations this team has.
Yeah, absolutely. I have too many jobs. I'll tell you that much. I'm a full-time professor in the communications department at the University of West Florida as well. So I teach video production and journalism and media management, a bunch of different stuff, and then run athletic communications. And I've been at the university since 2018. I was up in Charlotte, North Carolina, working in TV up there. But been around, covered the SWAC for many years, Alabama A&M and Alabama State, worked up in Huntsville for about a decade at one point. And so this is an interesting, situation. You just kind of mentioned it, Bryan. This is going to be our third game in just our 7th season against a Division I opponent. And part of that is because the Gulf South Conference, it's a smaller conference than some of the other football conferences at the D2 level. In fact, West Georgia from our conference just announced they are jumping up to Division I. They'll join the Atlantic Sun after this season. So if you know anybody, we're looking for new members at the D2 level that might want to get involved. So we've had to play. We played McNeese State. We played North Alabama after they had bumped up to Division I. We've seen this happen all across Division II. We played Texas A&M Commerce back in 21, beat them out in Texas, and the next day they announced they were going up to Division I. So the landscape is changing. But this is only our 7th season of football. And for those that don't know, man, what a story this university has been. They added football in their 3rd season. They went to the national championship game at the D2 level, won a national championship in 2019, and went to the Final Four last year. So in 6 seasons of football, we've been to the Final Four 3 times and played for a title twice. And so a lot of success early. And as you can imagine, all of a sudden, D2 teams don't want to play us anymore. It's very hard for us to find games early in the season. So this game with Florida A&M has been one that we've been trying to set up. Both parties have been trying to set up for a while. We came over and scrimmaged in Tallahassee back in 2020 when we did not have our season. We lost our season due to COVID. Didn't get a chance to defend the title the next year, and enjoyed coming over there and playing against the Rattlers. So that kind of sets us up. And here we are finally getting a chance. I know our fans are excited. I know the team is excited. And it's great because there's no other Division IIs in Florida. Florida Tech dropped football a couple of years back. And so we really don't have any natural opponents in the state of Florida. So this is the first time in a long time we'll get to play a Florida school. And also, this is the shortest road trip we've ever made. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Now you're no longer just the only. Edward Waters recently.
Yeah, that's true.
They recently moved up, so now there's 2 in the state of Florida. But I always wonder, how long will y'all be in Division II? But anyway, I'm not gonna go there with that one.
Bryan, I was gonna go there with one of my questions.
I'll let you. Hey, I'll let you get there. Go ahead, Marcus. Go ahead, since you got it on the table. Go ahead.
Well, Will, you are leveraging your expertise in marketing communications expertly, because you knocked out about 2 of the questions I had written down. The one about about the scrimmage in 2020, whether you believe that gives an advantage, even though the teams have changed since then. But in terms of getting a comfort level with having played in Bragg Stadium before and having some familiarity with the coaching staff, with some minimal turnover on the FAMU side, and the other part was about a soon-to-be former conference member, University of West Georgia, about their prospects, and if you have any insight on whether West Florida is going to follow suit.
Let me start with that one first. With West Georgia, West Georgia facilities wise is way ahead of where we are. And if you've ever been up there to Carrollton, Georgia, I mean, they've got Division I facilities built in, and that's not just football; that's baseball and basketball. They've really gone all out. They were going to jump to Division I several seasons ago. I think as far back as 2019, Kennesaw State made the move, and then the board of governors, the group in Georgia that oversees universities, said, "All right, that's it, nobody else," and kind of put a moratorium on it. They've been wanting to do this for a while. Finally, that got loosened up, so they jumped. But we get that call. Marcus, we get that call like every year, and a lot of times it'll be like this, where West Georgia's going, or somebody like that, and they want two schools to come. So they'll always say, "Hey, you guys ready? You want to come with West Georgia, balance out our schedules and our divisions or whatever." We're just not, again, this is 7th season of football. We played in a baseball stadium down at the water. The Blue Wahoos, our local AA baseball team, we played our games in their stadium until last season. And we would have stayed down there probably longer term. We hadn't built the stadium yet and hadn't really gotten to that point, but the scheduling didn't work out. So we had to jump out to campus. So we're in the process of trying to raise money to build a stadium. That takes time. That takes a lot of dollars. South Alabama, just down the road, built a stadium, about $100 million. And we don't have anybody stroking a check for that kind of money. So that kind of holds us back. But, I think what we're all seeing is, look at the landscape at the top of college football, up at that highest echelons, the SEC and the Big Ten, as that morphs and changes into whatever it's going to become, one super conference or whatever, that filters down to every level. And really for us, it would make a lot more sense from a scheduling perspective, football wise, to be Division I, because then we, potentially can play the Florida A&Ms. We can play McNeese, who we did play a couple of years ago, Nicholls State, Southern Miss, Troy. Those schools, those are shorter trips for us, more natural, regional type rivalries along the Gulf Coast. So that would be big. But, the thing that a lot of fans don't realize is, hey, yeah, for football, could we move up? Could we, at least be competitive? Probably so, hopefully so. Then you start talking about basketball and baseball and all the other sports. And then the big word is budget. And, you almost have to double a Division II budget to compete at the Division I level. And that means like 20 million to 40 million. Where is that coming from? Because travel's bigger. All that stuff is bigger. And then to the scrimmage, I don't know how many players from the Rattlers are still around from that scrimmage. We maybe have 2 or 3, that were around from that season. Our quarterback is gone. He's at Western Kentucky, and he's the top statistical quarterback in Division I now, Austin Reed. He had a great day that day, and I know if there's any Florida A&M DBs, they're probably like, whew, that guy's not coming back here. I don't have to see him again. So, I don't know how much that holds over from the scrimmage part. And then the thing that's changed, for you guys too, like for everybody, is the transfer portal. I mean, we got a bunch of kids who have played in big stadiums. They've played at D1 programs. They've been in front of big crowds. It's not going to be as much of a culture shock for them to walk in, to this situation. But I did tell a couple guys on the team, I said, if you're not familiar with, SWAC games and playing in the SWAC, it's a different environment. I've done Magic City Classics. I've done all kinds of other games. I mean, it's a different vibe when you walk into that stadium, and it takes a minute to get used to that as a player, for sure.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Kelvin.
So you all started the season highly ranked, and you're 2-0. Your first 2 opponents, you got a new coach. Even though he was at your program previously before he went to Clemson, and I noticed one of your coordinators that has coached in the SWAC, been a head coach, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Kind of talk about this year's team. How the first 2 games are gone, and just your takeaways of success from the West Florida standpoint on Saturday? What needs to happen?
Yeah, new coach Caleb Nobles, who comes in. And I hate to say this, but he's a kid. I mean, he's 29 years old. I mean, when he came in and we were introducing him, somebody asked him how old he was, and he said, I thought, man, he's young enough to be my son, which is a little scary. Makes me feel older
than
all the injuries and all that stuff too. But he knows the program, and he knows, even in the short history of the program, what makes it tick. And, so he's got a good relationship with boosters. Was able to teach the coach you mentioned, Coach Ron Dickerson Jr., was able to keep Ron on the staff, our offensive line coach who had been here for many years, but then brings in some really good, young, energetic coaches, including a new defensive coordinator, a guy named Cavell Connor, who played at Clemson, played in the NFL for 7 or 8 years, has a different mentality. So there's a different energy, which is good. We've got 50 plus new guys on the roster from last season, transfer portal and high school kids. So some good returning talent, but that's a big turnover. So the first 2 weeks has kind of been, the fall camp was like, let's get these new guys in, because a lot of them came in during the summer. They weren't here for spring from the portal. And so we had to get them, accustomed to the program and work them in and build that depth chart. The first 2 games to me almost have felt like preseason-y games in a way, just because you're still figuring out what your rotation is across the defensive line, for example, or, your running backs and receivers. This team's got talent, though. I mean, you got a lot of guys that have played some big time football at other places. I mean, not just transfers who weren't playing, but guys who come in here and have played, played at some places. The biggest thing, in football at any level is the quarterback is back, for us. And Byron Pee-wee Jarrett, great nickname because he's 6'4", 250. He is not a small man at all. He was a JUCO All-American. He's out of Iowa and had a great year last year. But what's crazy is, he throws for 30-something touchdowns and less than 10 picks and runs for 800 yards and another, 10 touchdowns or whatever. So, you look at that and be like, hey, the dude accounted for 40-something touchdowns and almost 4,000 yards of offense. And people were like, yeah, but he wasn't Austin Reed. He has a tough act to follow, when the previous guy led you to a title. But Pee-wee's back. And really, I think Coach Nobles, who was a quarterback, played the position at Valdosta and was our first quarterback, and then has worked with, the quarterbacks at Clemson, Trevor Lawrence and other guys. He's made Pee-wee better. I mean, I watched it during the summer when they were just working out and into fall camp. Pee-wee missed the spring because he had surgery after we had lost to Ferris State in the semifinals. So it kind of all starts there. He's a quality guy, a great kid, got some great receivers around him. I think that receiver room for Coach Dickerson goes like 15 guys deep. So there's some guys that can play. I'll give you guys a name to look out for. He wears 0, and his name is John Giles, transferred to us from Virginia Union. Led the nation in block kicks last year. He's 6'4", about 225 at a receiver. Giles is he's a freak. I mean, he is a different kind of guy than we've had before at receiver. And we had a guy from last year who's with the Cowboys now. Giles he hurdled a dude in the first game. A 6-foot DB just went over his head and hurdled him. And then last week he just trucked a kid up the sideline. Now different opposition with Florida A&M for sure. But, I think offensively, a little bit different philosophy. We threw a lot of deep balls the last couple of years, a little bit more, spread it around, work quick. And then the defense, just a different look. We went from a 3-4 to a 4-3. We've got types of guys that I haven't seen before. Your rush ends that are taller and more athletic, and still a work in progress though. So I think for us coming over, and a lot of fans may not realize this, at the D2 level, we don't get any credit for this game. It's crazy. Like, we beat McNeese in 21, and it actually hurt us when playoff time came rolling around. Valdosta got the number 1 seed after we had just beat Valdosta and scored 69 points on them. And we were all like, wait a second, we got the same record. We just beat you to death. And it turned out it was because the McNeese game, almost like it was never played. So, and I know for Florida A&M, having been on the other end of this before, it's kind of a no-win situation. It's tough as the D1 opponent because you're supposed to win. And if you don't, then, or if it's too close or, whatever the case may be. And I know you guys went and played South Florida last week. It's almost the same kind of deal, except now we're in your shoes.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, go ahead. Did you have another question in there, Kelvin? I know make sure your audio is. No. Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey, so Will, I was curious. I know you mentioned Pee Wee Jarrett, and by the way, two of the best names going in this contest when West Florida is on offense and FAMU's on defense. You got Pee Wee Jarrett and Gentle Hunt. I mean, really, if the TV broadcasters don't have a field day with the names, I can't help them. You can't.
Hey, I'm gonna add another. I'll add another one for you. We got a receiver out of Pine Forest High School here in Pensacola, Mystical McGee. So get ready for that one. Yeah.
Well, see, look, you know, I don't know if this is the Charlie Neal game on HBCU Go, but I mean,
it is.
Oh, well, look, Charlie Neal's got to have a field day with these names. So I noticed that West Florida is not, you guys aren't shy about going deep. I watched the highlights on the coaches shows. You're not scared to put the ball up. And so it kind of brings me to this thought of you've seen, you know, with your time in the SWAC, you've seen the FCS level. And now you're looking at Division II. What's the difference when you look at D2 versus FCS? Because we heard Coach Simmons talk about the difference in FBS and FCS really be the offensive defensive lines. What's your take? Is it something similar here with this contest, or you see something else?
That's exactly, Brian. What I would say is it's across the line. It's the size, the depth, you know, across both offensive and defensive lines. And, you know, even sometimes if it's not just total physical size, it's just a little bit better player, that little more advanced player, a little more athletic in a lot of cases. But I mean, listen, we were trying to find a couple offensive line guys, for example, in the summertime in the portal. I mean, if you were a lineman, offensive lineman, and you were in the portal, I mean, they were snapping you up much higher than you probably legitimately could have played. We lost our starting center to Coastal Carolina, and he's not even starting. He's a backup guard. I mean, if he's staying with us, he's playing every down. I mean, but that's what was happening. His kids were able to jump. We lost our nose guard. A kid, again, if he would have been here, it would get even better. Puda Walker, big Puda Walker. He went to Kennesaw State, and he's starting for them. Another local kid out of one of the Pensacola high schools, and you know. So if you were those big line guys, you got a chance to jump. And I saw guys move, you know, that were marginal players from some of the other D2 schools up to Penn States and Wisconsin's and places like that on the offensive line. So that, to me, that's the big thing. The skill positions, a lot of times, you know, you're going to have pretty good talent at any level. And I think, you know, the Austin Reed story goes to show you that, you know, a kid, this happens a lot, right? A kid gets overlooked coming out of high school. Austin Reed, for example, is a great, you know, he only started his senior year down in St. Augustine in high school. So he didn't get to be a 5-star recruit from the 8th grade on, you know, that type of thing. So he kind of got overlooked. Southern Illinois is where he went initially. Didn't like the cold and the snow and whatever up there. So he transferred to us. You know, now he's at Western Kentucky, and he's going to get drafted maybe in the 2nd round in the NFL. This is a kid, you know, while he's playing for us, Florida State, you know, they're starving for a quarterback. And this is probably a kid that, you know, could have helped any one of those big time programs in the state of Florida, but he slipped out of the state just because he didn't come with that recruiting pedigree. And I've seen that, you know, at our level. I've definitely seen that, you know, through my years covering the SWAC. In fact, Cavell Connor, the guy I mentioned, our defensive coordinator, we were just talking about teammates that he played with. I said, you know, who's the most dynamic guy you ever played with? And he was with the Colts with Peyton Manning, right? And he mentioned Robert Mathis. And I got to know Mathis well when he was at Alabama A&M. I mean, this is a kid who was 5'11", you know, 220, playing linebacker for Alabama A&M, and he was fantastic. He plays defensive end in the NFL for a decade plus and is a Hall of Fame type guy. And nobody, you know, at those higher levels, Alabama, Auburn, none of those schools, Tennessee, gave him the opportunity. So you're going to see talent at, you know, both sides of this game, obviously, at running back and receiver and the linebackers and the DBs. And we had one of our DBs leave, and he's actually starting for Western Kentucky. This kid will go from playing in the Gulf South Conference to starting against Ohio State on Saturday this week. You know, I mean, it's a weird – college football is a weird and wacky world today. But I think it is, Brian, the lines of scrimmage, the offensive and defensive lines where you're going to see that big difference. And you guys probably saw that last week when you were, you know, taking on South Florida.
Let me add one more question in here before I throw it over to the guys real quick. So Coach Shinnick, Pete Shinnick, who built this program, and now you're turning it over to just your second head coach. What is the secret in the sauce as you've watched West Florida grow? What's been the secret? Because you look at the history, and very short, brief history, but I mean, you guys are winning at a clip that feels like a lot of teams who've been around a lot longer haven't tasted the kind of success that West Florida has. What's been the secret in the sauce?
Well, Coach Shinnick, Pete Shinnick, was a master program builder. He had done the same, not with the same success level, but he built UNC Pembroke at the D2 level, and he took them when he took them to the playoffs, and I think it was their third or fourth season. That was the fastest anybody had ever made the playoffs with a startup program. And then he came here, and then obviously the difference is, no knock on North Carolina, worked up there for several years. There's a lot more high school football talent in Florida and Alabama, and kind of Mississippi along this area. And so he steps into this job and is like, it's not hard to recruit here. The screensaver behind me, that's the beach. That's Pensacola Beach. And that's, we've got to, we bring the kids down, we take them out to the beach to a restaurant where they're overlooking the Gulf of Mexico and bring their families in, and then you add in, we're winning, right? But he was able to, capitalize on some local talent, be able to bring in some guys through the portal, but then really recruit the state of Florida. And, I think South Florida and Central Florida, some FIU, FAU, they did this too. They all started up at one point, and there's so much talent in the state of Florida that, you just got to find the kid that maybe got overlooked, or maybe doesn't want to go sit and wait a year or two, and bring them in. And then, obviously there's some level of magic in what happened here, because it just doesn't happen. You don't win a national title in your fourth year of playing, football. That's just almost unheard of. But it is. People ask me about this season. I say, you need a couple things, right? You need the talent. You're not going to win at that kind of clip without the talent. But you need to find, somebody's got to walk in the door that's going to be more than you ever expected them to be. And you need your guys to play to their ceiling. That's what Shinnick did a great job of. He got the most, had a good staff, got the most out of guys. They go. It was actually Caleb Nobles, the current coach, the new coach, who found Austin Reed in the portal and brought him in, and kind of was the quarterback whisperer, and got him to work. So I don't know if it's a blueprint that anybody else could follow or not. And Coach Shinnick went up to Towson in Baltimore, up in the DC Baltimore area, and he's got his work cut out for him there, because he's not a startup program. We'll have to see if he's got the magic and it keeps it rolling at that level. By the way, little known, I didn't realize this till he was here. His dad, Pete Shinnick's dad, Don Shinnick, still holds the record for most interceptions by a linebacker in NFL history, and it's not even close. He played with Johnny Unitas with the Colts way back in the day. He has like 35 interceptions as a linebacker. The next closest guy's at like 27. So, football family, that's the other thing. Pete had been around it his whole life. Caleb Nobles, his dad, Buddy Nobles, was a high school coach in Florida and Georgia, right along the line there. Did it for 30 plus years. So he's from a football family too. So that's how you want a coach who's been around it their whole life. That's part of the equation.
All right. Marcus, Kelvin, any last questions you want to get in there for Will?
I do.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Kelvin.
Okay. Well, mine is a little bit off the trail a little bit. So explain, if you know, how the Argonaut, what it is, and how you all came up with that name.
That's always been the mascot here, although we used like a big shell, like a big beach shell for a long time as our logo. So until we added football and some of the other sports through the years, then we came up, and it's Jason and the Argonauts, Greek mythology, this group on a boat that's kind of just off adventuring and finding golden fleeces and doing all this stuff, fighting monsters and all that. So, and you never know, it's kind of like, right, well, let's run with that and create something from it. Man, our logo has taken off. I mean, there was a little mascot logo thing 2 or 3 seasons ago. We got like all the way to the Final Four with, I think we beat Wisconsin, the Badger, in one of the rounds and stuff. And so people have liked it, hey, you get the people and Coach Shinnick was a marketing major. And so he had a good eye for like, let's create, gear and come up with like this logo here and, and just make stuff that looks good. So, and then you'll see this on some of our stuff. His word was arete. And that's a Greek word for like excellence. And so that's kind of branded on our stadium too. And we've kept that. So that's where it comes from. Yeah.
Awesome. Very unique. I love it.
Yeah. And the colors work, we got the blue, the green, and the white, and then we make it look beachy if we need to. It works in there. Although I like your guys' color too. And I've always liked the Rattler, the snake. And I went to the University of Texas. So, I've got Longhorns. It's been a good week for me. I cannot deny it. We're ranked 4th in the country at UWF, and my Horns are now like in the top 4. And I'm like, come on, it can only get worse from here.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Marcus,
any day Alabama loses is a good day.
Yeah, I know, right? I know a lot of people, the nation is salivating right now. Hey, Marcus, what do you any last questions for
one quick one? Now this is a 1-game series, or is it?
That's a good question. I know that we would love to play it more often. I don't know if it's a every year deal, because I don't know that home and home works. When you're talking 2 different levels of football, that gets a little tricky. But no, I definitely know we would love for it to be. I mean, for us, not only is it the shortest road trip for us going over, we've got, I did an alumni event down in Tampa back in June, and that's one of our bigger alumni groups. And they were all excited, for them with Florida Tech gone to get on a bus and come up to Tallahassee and watch the game. So we'll have a bunch of people there. I mean, there'll be a good crowd that'll come. We got a big group in Atlanta of alumni too, and they'll drive down because it's closer than coming all the way to Pensacola. So yeah, we would love to. I don't know that we ever want to go over to Doak, but we'll be happy to come. And it's harder and harder, man. Like, even to get, those money games anymore, probably, even for Florida A&M, it's just harder to find those opponents. And the restructuring in college football may change that. But, definitely, Marcus, if the day comes, and I don't know when that comes, that we jump up to that next, love for it to be a regular game, love for it to be year in and year out.
All right. So Will, I'll ask you the question. West Florida pulls off the upset, shakes up the nation, at least in our world. How? What has to happen for that to happen?
I would say it's got to. We've got to get off to a good start. I mean, that's the thing. And I say this with any time you're the underdog in a game, or the smaller school. You've got to get off to a good start. You got to try to score some points early, and that puts the pressure on the home team, the favored team. And then maybe if they're playing from behind, they start pressing a little bit. The pressure's on that team more. They're at home. They're supposed to win. And if you can keep that game like that, the further it goes into that game. And that was kind of what happened at McNeese, man. We threw a bomb right off the start to our receiver, David Durden. He catches a big touchdown pass. I think that tells the other team, these guys from D2 are here to play. And then you could see them. They were a ball control running type team, and playing from behind got tougher for them. The more it went on, then all of a sudden, Ed Ogeron's son was their quarterback, the former LSU coach. And he really wasn't a thrower. And then all of a sudden we put him in a position where he had to throw the ball more than he wanted to throw the ball. And that, that changes the dynamic of a game like this. And so, it's cliche to say this kind of stuff, but you've got to execute, and you can't make mistakes in the special teams. I mean, you may turn the football over, you may throw an interception, you may fumble the ball. That happens in football, but you can't give up that kick return for a touchdown. You can't miss field goals, those type of things when we're in our shoes trying to pull off an upset on the road in that situation. And it's tough, man. We had a 12-hour road trip, and they rode a bus. They rode the buses out to Illinois, just below St. Louis last week. And I know a lot of guys are tired. We got a couple guys that were banged up in that game. We lost 2 starters coming out of that game, that both had surgery this week. And, you hate that week 2 of the season. And then we got to turn around after we come to Tallahassee, and who comes in for the first conference game? West Georgia. We'd like to give them a parting gift of a swift kick right in their backside, as they move up to Division I. So that's, I think Bryan, that's what it's going to take. Get off to a good start, and then try to maintain that and try to put the pressure on Florida A&M.
All right. Are you part of the play-by-play or the broadcast crew that uh for West Florida as well?
I do the play-by-play for our games, and I do radio on the road, and then at home we have the conference has a partnership with Flow Sports, which is our streaming platform. But we already had a deal in place before that with Cox Sports and YourView, so we do all the games on TV when they're at home, and then I get to do. It's a lot easier with doing radio on the road than doing. People don't understand the TV thing's like a circus, and I've been doing it for a long, long time. I was like, I like the radio. People ask me, it must be nice to be at home this week. I'm like, no, it's more work for me. Let me go on the road and do the easy thing.
All right. Well, I asked because we'll be up there. I know Kelvin and I.
I'll be up in the press box.
We'll make sure to stop by and say hello. Safe travels to you and all of the Argonauts coming over to Tallahassee, and looking forward to a good game. So it'll be a good test for both sides. And hopefully it's not too good. I would hate to say that. Maybe a half. Longer than a half. Rattler Nation
you want to be a hospitable host, but you don't want us to go home too happy. I know.
Exactly. We don't want you to go home too full. We get a nice meal, but we don't want you to go home too full.
I appreciate it, guys. Enjoyed it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
All right. Nice job, man. Great stuff there. So that's again Will Kennedy from University of West Florida. Let's take a short break. Come back. I'm gonna put the call-in line. I'm gonna put it in the chats. We got some time, maybe a segment or a half, and we'll kind of give Rattler Nation, you guys watching, an opportunity to we'll hear from you a couple minutes at the most, and then we'll see how it goes. We got some more to talk about too. Got to give a quick mention and shout out to our volleyball program on the other side of the break as well. And a runner, one of our cross-country athletes who had a great week. So we'll talk about all that coming up on the other side. Right after this break, you're watching the ONG Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Bryan, Marcus, Kelvin here. Hopefully you guys got some good information regarding what's upcoming. West Florida, man. Ooh, we're going to talk about that here coming up. But I want to, during that interview I found the photos, and more importantly, our guy checked in with us, Robert Kelly. Shout out to Robert Kelly, 1974. Checking in with us, member of the Dirty Dozen and Z28. There's Robert right there with me and Kelvin. Of course, there's Keith Hadley, Things Up podcast. We were all kind of bouncing and chopping it up. Got a chance. I think we even got featured by Barstool USF or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody saw. Yeah. Well, Marcus, they're everywhere. So yeah, they invade everywhere. That's a walk up to the stadium. So great conversation with Robert. Thanks for checking in and reminding us. I knew the name. See, Robert Kelly. I told you the name was easy to remember, but sadly I didn't write it down. It should have been easy enough. So
how you gonna forget R. Kelly?
Well, aren't I supposed to? I didn't want to get canceled you for playing a song, and all of a sudden people are like, you can't believe you played that song. But anyway, see, now if you had said that, I would have remembered it. There's no doubt about it. If you would have had me thinking like that, I would have associated. Well, I would have remembered. Let me just say I would have remembered it. So I bet Robert, I bet you get those jokes a lot. So there's our view from the press box. It was a crowd of about 36,000. This was like pregame, so don't judge the empty seats like there wasn't a good crowd. It was a great crowd there for this game, about 36,000. And what's interesting is that new stadium that South Florida is going to be building. They're talking about it making it about 40,000. So it would fill just about every inch of that thing. All right, let's give a mention here to our volleyball team here before we get too deep here in the woods. Marcus, what do we or Kelvin? What do you guys want to go through the rundown there from the volleyball weekend?
Yes, FAMU volleyball. We hosted a tournament this past weekend, on September 7th through the 10th. In the FAMU Invitational presented by Sonny's Barbecue. And we picked up our first win on Thursday evening in a 3-2 decision over South Alabama, who was previously undefeated. We also experienced 0-3 losses to Stetson and Georgia Tech during the course of the weekend. Now, as far as game notes, Brooklyn Watts registered a double-double with a match-high 22 kills with 16 digs. FAMU also received a match-high 26 digs from Brooke Hudson, and FAMU attacker Camila De La Rosa had a team-high 38 assists.
Yeah, I think that is now we are now 2-2 in 5-set games, if I'm saying that right. 5-game sets, or I might be saying the terminology wrong, but anyway, if it goes 5, we're kind of sitting at 2-2 right now. Obviously, our record is 2-7. So that's 9 games. So almost half of our games have gone 5 games, and then we've taken a couple to 4. I thought it was impressive that game that we lost to Stetson, which was game number 2. That even though we dropped that 3-0 to Stetson, the scores in those games, 25-22, 29-27, 25-23. And so this team continues to be right on the edge of knocking off these teams. I mean, these are, and I don't know when you get to that point, fellas, of saying, hey, we should be winning these games. I don't know how you get to that point in the preseason or in the non-conference schedule, but I just like the fact that competitive in these our upcoming opponents in this tournament we're going to up in Charleston. They haven't won a game. I mean, like everything's been 0-3. They've lost every game, 3 up, 3 down. So I appreciate, as much as they can say it, when we lose 1-3 or lose a game like this where it's competitive, I appreciate the effort and I just hope that it yields the kind of results that we think and we have produced over the last 2 years. Am I making sense in that?
Mm-hmm. But also, you have to couple it with what Coach Gokhan shared with us in the preseason, in that they barely get a preseason to gel.
Yeah.
And we have 8 or 9 new players, including, I think, 4 to 5 true freshmen, and I believe at least 3, maybe 4 transfers. And so these first few games, and he schedules tough regionally. And we had Georgia Tech come in, who was the number 11 ranked team in all the nation, coming in after having upsets over Ohio State and Penn State, who are typically powerhouses. So before we get into conference play, we're trying to meld different players, see which rotations work the best. And in the preseason, he did say that Camila De La Rosa hadn't come in yet. So I don't know. This was my first time. I hadn't checked the stats, but this is my first time seeing her highlighted or listed. So I don't know if this happened to be her first weekend of playing for the team after, whatever challenges she had in joining the team. So we're still going through a process of finding out who we are in the best rotation and being extremely competitive while doing so. And we played UAB in their tournament and lost in a 5-setter. I think that was the first one we lost of the year, where we could have beat them.
Yeah.
There's another one that we lost that was very close as well. And it was just like a ball here, a ball there. We could be closer to 500.
Mm-hmm. No, good point. Kelvin, anything you want to add there? Do we got? Oh no. Okay. All right. Let's make mention here. Players of the week. 3 of the 4. This is the 3rd consecutive week. The season's only about 3 weeks old, so this is the 3rd consecutive week that a Rattler or Rattlers have been featured as with SWAC Weekly Honors. This week we almost sweep as Brooklyn Watts was the Offensive Player of the Week. She had double-digit kills in 2 of the 3 matches. She recorded a double-double on a team-high 22 kills and 16 digs versus South Alabama, and 14 kills and 8 digs against Stetson. Brooke Hudson, I should go back and say that's the 2nd time in the last 3 weeks that Brooke has been the Offensive Player of the Week. Brooke Hudson, the Defensive Player of the Week for the 2nd time in 3 weeks. She recorded 20-plus digs in back-to-back matches. 26 versus South Alabama, ranks 3rd most in the SWAC this year. And then she had 24 versus Stetson, the most recorded in a 3-set match. Hudson also added 13 digs and 2 service aces against Georgia Tech. And then De La Rosa, the setter of the week, contributed 30 assists versus South Alabama and Stetson. The 38 versus South Alabama is the 5th most in the SWAC this season. And the 31 versus Stetson is the most recorded in a 3-set match. So congratulations to Brooke Lynn Watts, Brooke Hudson, and Camila De La Rosa. And the Lady Rattlers just continue to do the thing, right? This upcoming weekend, they are traveling to Charleston Southern for the Buccaneer Invitation. On Friday, they'll take on the Citadel at 10 a.m. Now, we've already played the Citadel once before. We lost to them in a 5-game set. So that was one of those 4 or 5 gamers. We came up short on that one, so we'll hopefully get a chance at winning this one. Then they take on the host Charleston Southern team Friday evening at 7 p.m. Then on Saturday, Saturday morning at 10 a.m., they take on South Carolina State. And South Carolina State enters the tournament winless, and they have not won a game versus an opponent this season. So I feel pretty good that FAMU will get at least one. Might even get payback and get two. Be great if we get a sweep. Just a thought. Just a thought, right? All right. So that's the volleyball action. All right. One other player or athlete to take on some big honors, and that is freshman Sierra Barrera, who earned medalist honors in her first collegiate meet over the past weekend at the TCC Open, where out of the 31 participants in the women's division, the 5K, Barrera finished third. FAMU placed second overall in the team standings. Barrera finished third. We also had Anaya Coleman, not Anaya, but Naya is her name, Naya Coleman. She finished fourth. Actually, she finished fourth, probably about maybe 5 seconds behind Sierra. And then Serenity Williams finished sixth. Jillian Salmon finished seventh. And then one other young lady, Lacey Debosky, finished 10th. So shout out to Sierra Barrera. She was the SWAC runner of the week. Congratulations to that young lady. What other news and notes before we come back to football are there, guys? Marcus, you dropped a little nugget there regarding well, hold on. Well, go ahead, Marcus. You want to drop that? You dropped a nugget there, so I want to go ahead and broadcast that because I saw somebody mention it. Jimmy Mack mentioned it on the in the chat, so we might as well go ahead and bring it up.
Oh, the men's basketball schedule?
Yep.
Yep. The graphic came out literally maybe 10 minutes before show start. So
hot off the presses. Hot off the presses. Breaking news. Breaking news.
So we have our official schedule. You know, if nothing changes. So, you know, we can we're piecing some things together from other resources that were tweeting out schedules for some of the non-conference games we were playing, and now we have it comprehensive just for our team. So it looks like we have a good 10 games 11 games before Christmas break or before New Year's. And then after we come back, we jump into our SWAC schedule, starting off with Bethune-Cookman again, and then ending the season with Bethune-Cookman.
Are the students back? When we go into are the students back yet? God bless it.
No.
Come on. The SWAC has got to do better with this. The students aren't back on campus yet.
All right.
Anyway, go ahead. Don't get me started with this mess. Jesus.
So it looks like, well, the big game, I guess, in the out of conference is having Oregon come on November 20th. And I don't know what the calendar looks like this year. I don't know if that's Thanksgiving week or the week before.
It feels like, is that
that's the Monday? That's the Monday after the Florida Classic.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's Thanksgiving week then. So that's the week heading into Thanksgiving.
Yep, sounds like it.
Yes.
So looks like we got 3 home slate games out of conference. Oregon coming, which hopefully will be a big deal. We'll get some good turnout.
We got to make that a big. We got to pull. I mean, we got a 10,000 seat arena. I mean, we got to bring in 5 to 6. I'm just asking for half. I'm asking for half the stadium. I'm not going to be stupid and ask for 7, 8, or a sellout. Can we get 5? Tallahassee Rattlers, Can we get 5? I mean, Tallahassee community, can we get 5? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Marcus. Continue.
We got 3 home games. We got Oregon, Albany State, and is that Lemoyne? Owens?
Yeah.
The
that used to be, who was the head coach? NBA player, Bonzi Wells. Used to be the head coach of Lemoyne Owen.
Okay, so those are our 3 home slate, and everything else we're road dogs.
Division 2 teams, which they don't count on our schedule, or I think they're qualified as exhibition games.
Mm-hmm.
No, they regular. When they played in the regular season, they regular season games, they do count. Just like West Florida counts in football. Now, we've played them in the exhibition games prior to the regular season starting, but once the season starts, which is like sometime the 1st of November, I forget what date, but once the regular season starts, everything you play is a regular season game. It counts.
But I thought against the RPI or the what is the metric that they use, the net rating, I thought they don't count these Division II games.
What did I just say?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. You're right. Go ahead. Okay.
It will be, if we win those games, it's a W. If we lose those games, that's an L.
All right. Anyway, go ahead. I'm not a fan of. Okay, go ahead, Marcus. Continue, please. I'm sorry.
So looking at the schedule, the first 4 games, I mean, Creighton, I think they're typically in the NCAA tournament and pretty good. Yep. And then Nebraska, I don't know. But then you got the Gators and then Oregon. 3 of those first 4 games are teams that typically make the cut on the 68. I don't know about Nebraska. They might make the NIT, but I know they're not known as a power, but they are a larger school. So those first 4 games, we're going to be aching to get back home on the 20th, because the first 3, I mean, we go from Nebraska, then to Gainesville, so at least we're back in state, and then back home for Oregon. And I haven't looked at any preseason rankings. I don't know if they have any out yet, so I don't know where these teams are falling in terms of the preseason rank. But Oregon's typically
I'll be
35.
honest. The only one who might be ranked is Creighton. I don't think Florida will be top 25. They may work themselves into it later, but I don't think preseason they'll be top 25. Iowa might be. There's 2 teams who might. If I had to guess, I would go Creighton and Iowa might be preseason top 25.
Creighton. You said Creighton?
Creighton, yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And I do think what I like about the non-conference is that you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in the state of Florida. So, I would hope that Rattler Nation would show up for the game against UF. And then I hope the Central Florida, Orlando contingent will show up against USF or UCF. And then look, I mean, the home games are the home games. I don't know. That's Thanksgiving weekend, if I'm not mistaken, November 29th. So I don't know who's going to be in Tallahassee for that game. December 9th, that might be a great opportunity to get the fans re-engaged. But at the middle of the schedule, the non-conference, there's an opportunity to win 3 games in there in the middle. The Albany State, the Presbyterian College, and I said the middle of the schedule.
I'll make sure.
Yeah, that's exactly in the middle of the schedule, those 3 games. So there's an opportunity to win 3 going into the SWAC season. And, it is what it is at that point.
Looking at the conference schedule, well, I guess one quick thing. The 23rd of November is Thanksgiving. So we're paying, that is the Monday of Thanksgiving. And the other thing I was just thinking about, I just lost a thought, but we got our work cut out for us. Looking at the schedule for the conference, it looks like we play Grambling on MLK Day. I don't know if they haven't published or maybe it's when the holiday celebrate. They haven't published the TV schedule as of yet. But it'd be interesting to see.
You think that might be one of those games that the SWAC naturally plays on Martin Luther King Day anyway, because the SWAC usually plays a Saturday, Monday schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so MLK Day is going to be on,
the 15th.
So I would be Where is that game at? At Grambling or?
Oh no, we have a home slate. We're playing Southern on Saturday and Grambling on that Monday.
I mean, I can't see them. If you're pre-planning, hey, what games are we going to air from the SWAC? Unless AD Sykes has got somebody on the phone with the NBA TV, I don't know how we're gonna get featured when we look at our schedule our record over the last couple seasons. Would you run that risk? I mean, maybe we were featured, weren't we, on NBA TV a couple years ago though?
Yeah, 2 years ago,
Okay.
we were competitive. Last year we fell off.
Okay,
but we were competitive in SWAC 2 years ago.
Okay, hey, you never know. I mean, good weekend. We just got to pack.
I would advise, if you want people at the game, to make sure you get with the band staff and try to make sure that the band be at those games early, because typically they don't show up till after they return from Christmas break.
Hey, and guess what? If the marching 100 can't be there, how about we call up FAMU DRS? How about we call up the pep band over at the local high school, or maybe Rickards or another local high school band? I mean, let's be creative. Let's think out the box and find a way to be engaging with the local community. And if our 100 can't be there because obviously they're students and they're not in town, okay, no sweat. Let's find a way. Let's find a way to bring in.
Yeah, and by the way, most of the high schools here have FAMU alumni as band directors right now. I think 3 or 4 of them I know do.
Exactly. So that suggestion tip, courtesy of the ONG. Any other nuggets you guys want to add here?
Nope. Let's talk some football.
Hey,
let's talk ball.
Let's talk ball. How about before we come back to the how about we got to talk about this guy?
Got to talk about that.
We got to talk about what this guy just did.
Oh,
yeah. Marquise Bell was that dude. I didn't stay up to watch the game because I tell you what, after I finished the show with Drew on Sunday night, I got it on, and literally I swear I looked over and I was like, is it 21-0 already? I'm like, God dog, the game just started and the Cowboys, I cut it off by halftime. I realized when it was whatever to 0 at the half, I was like, this isn't competitive. And my Saquon Barkley fantasy numbers were going down the toilet quickly. I got out. I got out of watching that game. But Marquise had 8 total tackles. 6 of them were solo, 2 assists, 1 forced fumble, which that hit, the forced fumble hit, my God, if that wasn't one of the plays, the defensive plays of week 1, I don't know if they've even done that, come out yet. That was, nice. And then he had a stuff play for -8 yards. I thought I had the video pulled up, but I didn't download it, so whatever. But man, how nice was it to see Marquise have a day to open the season?
Marquise, usually they say in the NFL you don't lose your job because of injury. Well, he just lost his job.
Whose job did he take? Who got hurt?
Owishan, I think the guy's last name is Owishan or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
His job is gone. It's a wrap.
Nobody remembers. It's done. Yeah, it's over and done is what that dude's starting job is gone. Any thoughts on so Marquis switched from 41 to 14. Is that correct? He did that?
Yep. Still adds up to 5. So
you know what? You're boom. I'm thinking the same thing, Marcus. I was thinking the same thing. I think like that. So see, Marcus, you and I, we be simpatico sometimes with these numbers things. So I was thinking the same thing. 4 and 1 equals 5. So.
And he's been getting a lot of rave. Now, I did not check on Bryan Baldinger, but I've seen a lot of retweets. I guess we have a lot of FAMU fans who are also Cowboy fans of some of the accolades and cut-ups of his performance from Sunday night. And it's a Sunday night game, so it was like everybody got a chance to see. And I think even somebody posted a clip of Skip Bayless talking about it. You know, Skip is a Cowboy homer, and he worked for the Dallas Morning News for decades. But he was giving props to Marquise in the clip that I saw. So, you know, just things were looking up.
Yeah.
He just keep it up. They're gonna have to pay him after this season, buddy.
Oh yeah. Good for him. And I think I thought I heard Tarico call him a linebacker, even though they moved into a linebacker position.
Yeah, they did that
hybrid.
Right before the start of the season.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn moved into a hybrid safety linebacker type role.
Man, I tell you what, that Cowboys defense is going to be special. Good to see a Rattler be a part of it. Definitely. All right, yeah, definitely. You guys get those likes up wherever you are. If you're in the chats, if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, get the thumbs up going here. Get the likes up. Can I before we go to a quick break, I got to show Kelvin's play. Kelvin was now in the press box, Marcus. From about the second quarter on, Kelvin was screaming. Look, between Keith screaming about how inaccurate the USF quarterback was,
oh my God,
and Kelvin calling for a wheel route for about a good 2 quarters was the funniest thing that you might have heard up in the press box coming from 2 individuals. Okay,
that's all I got to cheer in the press box.
Well, look, hey, so much there was nobody in the press box.
I mean, hey. They had their side, we had our side.
Yes, they purposely partitioned us over and said if them guys want to talk and be loud, let them go ahead. We put them all over there. So there was like 4 or 5 of us all sitting there. And then around the corner you had the USF contingent of folks. But so the no cheering in the press box. I mean, if we had pulled an upset, you might have heard a lot of cheering going on. So yes, it was pretty eventful, but we gotta give some shots. Kelvin's play of the day was this nice little wheel route from Musa to Kelvin Dean. That was sort of the on the field view that FAMU ran. Kelvin, you care to gloat, care to comment on that play again? Why were you so adamant about it? Let people know, why were you so adamant for it?
Because they couldn't defend it. You know, when you call plays, you're trying to call plays that, you know, attack a certain area of the field if you're an offensive coordinator. And so the way they were playing 2 high safeties on a hash, and then their linebacker was pretty much walking up to the line of scrimmage, and they were showing, 6, 7, sometimes 8 men front. So that means they were man on the outside. So when the receiver ran the route and they run into the to the hash, then that occupies the safety as well as that cornerback. So when that back come out the backfield on the wheel route, that leaves a defensive end or a linebacker coming from the line of scrimmage trying to catch a running back with a head start and more foot speed. And that's exactly what happened on that play. I believe the guy who was trying to run with Kelvin Dean at that point was a defensive end. And, of course, that was a mismatch. I wish we had tried that play, multiple times, because I think it would have been successful every time, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. You're probably right. That was the ag productive play of the day. Peep that there on FAMU Twitter. All right. Let's do this. Let's take a short break, come back, and spotlight a few more things. Want to hear from Coach Simmons on this upcoming opponent, and also tell you a few things about Ken Riley Day I still want to open it up. You guys want me to open up the segment for just see if we got a couple of callers here. I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but maybe if we got a couple rattlers out there who want to get in some words, we'll open it up. So and during this break, be on the lookout for the link to join us, and we'll go from there. So hang tight with us. We'll be back right after these words.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
As technology continues to bring changes to the world of education, it's time we also reimagine teacher professional development. Gone are the days of one-size-fits-all learning that can only be accessed at a specific time and place. The Stride PD Center is an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that allow educators to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. The best professional development plans are those that include a level of flexibility and choice for educators. Whether you're a teacher, school, or district, visit us today to take charge of your learning.
Our team is the same. It's the same message I gave them last week, the message I gave them the week before. Our goal as a football team is to achieve excellence. That's our program motto is the standard is excellence. And so the way to reach excellence is to chase perfection. That has nothing to do with who you're playing. Great players, great teams, they don't look at the schedule. They look at the process of becoming a champion, of becoming the best version of themselves. And so if you're playing South Florida one week and a Division II the next week, an average team, an average person would prepare more for South Florida than they would against West Florida. They change their practice schedule to maybe have less padded days against West Florida, thinking they got to be more physical versus South Florida. They may be a little bit more relaxed in the weight room because of the caliber opponent they're playing. That's what an average person would do, or somebody who aspires to just be good. But someone who aspires to be great, a team that aspires to be great and chases perfection, they put the blinders on and they don't care who they play. The preparation is the same. And so we didn't change our game plan this one. We didn't change our practice plan this week. We didn't change anything about what we're doing. Our goal is to make ourselves the best version of ourselves. That's great practices. That's locked in meetings. That's making it to treatment every day. That's not missing weights. That's going to class every day. All the little things we talk about as a program, that's what we're charging these guys with doing. The standard is the standard. Doesn't matter that we're playing a Division II. I don't have to remind them that Division IIs have beat FCS programs. I don't have to remind them that FCS programs had beat Division I programs, FBS programs. I remind them that our standard is that we do everything it takes to be our best version of ourselves. That's it. And so that's how I keep them from playing up or playing down. I don't believe in that term. We don't get up for competition. We don't play down to our competition. Our challenge every week, and I tell the team, there's a team that's on our schedule penciled in as an opponent. But every single week, again, our opponent is just what I talked about earlier. We're fighting two forces every week. We're fighting that force of complacency. We're fighting that force of perfection. Chasing that force of perfection. And so as long as we continue to chase perfection, we will be just fine. If we don't allow that spirit of complacency to set in and think that, again, because we are a talented team, I think we'll prevent the letdowns. We'll prevent the lack of preparation, because, again, our goal is to chase perfection. And if we do that, again, everything else takes care of itself. It doesn't matter the team that's coming in, whether it's a home game, away game, televised game, not, packed house, empty stadium. It does not matter. We will be prepared to play on Saturday if we chase perfection. If we settle on complacency, we won't be as prepared as we need to be. And the good thing is that's our choice. It has nothing to do with West Florida. Had nothing to do with South Florida or Jackson State. It has everything to do with FAMU. And as long as we focus on FAMU, again, the outcome will take care of itself.
You on mute?
Those are the words from head coach Willie Simmons at his Monday press conference. The spirit of complacency versus the pursuit of perfection. I could not have said it any better than our coach. Guys, any thoughts or comments there?
Marcus?
Well, I like the way the coach is basically holding the team accountable. You're accountable to yourselves, because based on the potential, the team that's been assembled, and the coaching that you're receiving, the results are always on the team, but he's saying if we focus on us and not look at the names on the front of the jerseys, regardless of who we're playing, and if we execute, then our goals will be met. It'll pretty much work itself out. And so I think that's a level of confidence that not only has in the staff, but also the team and the talents that he's assembled. And so he's making sure that assemblance of talent and the execution of those talented players all match in order to reach the team goals. And he's continuing to reemphasize that. And I know there's a lot of memes and jokes about self-inflicted wounds and all those type things, but it's a kind of the same theme in that if we skip one of the F's, we don't do the fundamentals or all the other things we know to do, then that's on us. Not necessarily the other team, but it's on us, because all we can do is all we can do. We can't control the other team, but if we do what we're supposed to do, more often than not, the result's going to turn out in our favor.
As I said earlier, Coach bringing his A game this week. I got to give him props. He's saying the right thing, and he mean it. He's consistent with his message, as you pointed out. And I like the fact that he's not hiding, and even at the 220 club, that the talent of this team. But let him know talent don't mean you're gonna win. You have to put in the work every day, leading up to game day, and every week. So that's the right message. Yeah, we're a talented team. Yeah, but don't get your head too full. Just continue to work and be the best version of yourselves. And then by the end of the season, you'll be where you need to be. And as long as he keep that theme, that message, and the kids continue to buy in, I like our chances.
Mm-hmm.
Got a good friend that always has this great line that he tells teams that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So that's the key to it. I mean, regardless of how talented you are, you got to work hard. And I love how he talked about the process and falling in love with the process, regardless of who your opponent is. And that's what the great teams do.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah. A couple of notes here. I know I started. Let me see. Somebody had asked, so I wanted to make sure we mention this. I know EA asked about updates on 2 offensive linemen that came out injured following the South Florida game, and we do have updates. We know about those. Marcus, I think I saw you respond in the chats. So for those who maybe aren't in the chat rooms, what's the update on those 2 offensive linemen?
Based on what Coach Simmons shared during the coaches show, he didn't share it in the previous 2 interviews earlier in the day for the local press conference or the SWAC, but Cardell Thomas has a high ankle sprain, and he's day-to-day or questionable. And he mentioned he may hold him out until we start conference play. And for Mike Marshall, he has a leg fracture, and he's out for the season, unfortunately. And both of those players represent our two-deep chart at left guard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think even the depth chart that I saw. So there was two things that I noticed when I looked at the depth chart in the game notes, and I don't know if you guys saw that. It was that that those two guards were out, so we will have to watch and see how Coach Henry shuffles and moves people around.
Caesar.
I'm sorry,
Caesar,
the guy Caesar, the guy who started, who got hurt last year. He moved into the. I think he's getting more reps at the guard spot, which he started at against UNC till he got hurt last year.
Okay.
And I know TJ. I'm not TJ. TJ Lee. Coach said that he was getting a little winded and so forth. So we rotated a lot of guys. If you didn't watch the game and the notes, because offensive line is not the sexy spot, but we rotated a lot of. We got into our 3 deep, frankly, even before the injury. So we have depth there. We still will be starting someone who has started experience at FAMU. We'll just have to see, in terms of continuity and just getting more reps, how that plays out.
Mm-hmm. And Kelvin, let me ask: so, would the viable candidates be Cesar Reyes, who was our transfer from USF last year, got hurt in the UNC game? Kendarius Cunningham, who is a vet at FAM, and also TJ Demas, who is, I guess, he'd be a true sophomore. He came from Clearwater Catholic last year.
All who have started.
Mm-hmm. Would those be
all who have? Yeah. Yes.
And what about?
I would think so.
Yeah, we still have like a couple of transfers. I don't know if we've seen them yet. The young man from University of Buffalo. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm not going to mispronounce it. And we also have, there's a gentleman that transfer from Mississippi. He's from a JUCO in Mississippi. I want to say KJ McCoo, or I believe that's his name. And he was a 3-star coming out of high school, but he ended up going to a JUCO in Mississippi. So we still have just throwing around names depending on how the fit, in terms of depth and experience and size.
Yeah. And there's one other name that got injured that Coach mentioned. I think his last name was Clark, DB. I think he mentioned
Clark.
Yeah, he mentioned that he hurt his shoulder, going to have shoulder surgery, so he's probably out for the year too.
Okay. Yeah, and I think he's a sophomore from Mosley High School.
Yeah, he's a sophomore. He was playing in the nickel behind Kamani King, according to the depth chart. The other depth chart note that caught my eye was the free safety spot. Andre Powell has moved into the starting spot. The redshirt sophomore has moved into over Lovey Jenkins. Lovey Jenkins has moved. That's why I brought that up.
I'm not gonna say anything, but you know.
Yeah, I just thought I'd mention it because it was one of those visual things.
I think it's warranted.
Yes, it is. Probably so. I don't disagree with you. Okay. All right. So let's kind of move forward. Obviously, coming up this upcoming Saturday, it's Ken Riley Day. Ken Riley Field. These visuals here, courtesy of FAMU Athletics, for those of you who are watching the show. Ken Riley Field's name will be emblazoned between the 40s, right there underneath the Rattler logo. Marcus, we were talking offline. I think we were both kind of, I don't know, Kelvin, how you thought about or if you gave any thought to the location of that. I thought it might be more of a signature kind of thing that might show up somewhere on the field. So I don't know. It is what it is.
There's NCAA guidelines to, what your field surface can have and where it can be located at. You still got to have your hash, and your logo can be a certain size, and so you got your football marking. So that limits the space on the field where you can put these kind of special things. The fact that they put it on the field is fine, but I was thinking more that they might put it somewhere else, but it's prominently displayed on the actual playing surface. So I think it's fine. I like it.
So of course, Ken Riley Day is Saturday, September 16th. There's going to be a pregame mixer in Lawson Center from 3:30 to 5 p.m., where all of Coach Riley's former teammates, coaches, administrators, and friends are invited to attend. So that should be a interesting spot to be in. I wonder if you got to have press credentials or you got to have some kind of badge to come in there. But anyway, that should be cool. That should be a who's who of Rattlers there for that. Then of course they're going to do the field dedication at 5:45 p.m. and there will be a mayoral proclamation at halftime. So that will be very nice. And of course, special guests include Mrs. Barbara Riley, Ken Riley II, Kimberly Connor, and Kenesha Avery. That's Coach Riley's children, of course, along with his wife. So that'll be it'll be pretty good to see all of them. And of course, if you haven't seen the board, the scoreboard, and all of its beauty and luster, there it is, Bragg Memorial Stadium. Ken Riley Field, of course, adorned on the bottom half of that. I think that's pretty. I don't think there's anything else to add to the board. Is there really? I see they got the speakers up.
Mm-hmm. Kelvin, quick question. I meant to ask you this earlier. Do you
Yes,
know
Bryan.
if the I don't know what you call that, the wording across the top and the bottom, will it light up, or is it mainly?
It does light up. It does light up, Marcus. I'm going to add that because I've seen somebody had a visual. Kelvin, if it wasn't you, it was somebody else.
It wasn't me. I don't know that to be the case, Bryan. That could have been. I think the picture you're talking about might be the video board that night that was lit up, and it was
like a greenish hue.
Yeah, and the angle was taken from. I don't know if that lights up. I'll have to go look. I'm leaning towards no, but I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, I feel 90% confident that the words light up. There's lighting behind those words. So like Bragg Memorial,
it would make sense.
Yeah, it would make sense for it to be lit up. And then notice some of the visuals again. Now this is on. Kelvin took a couple of these photos here. Those visuals right there appear on Gallimore Fieldhouse. Yeah.
I went by there today, but I didn't take any pictures. But the whole thing is working and lit up now. They've been programming it. Once you get everything connected, you have to program and all that good stuff. So they still finishing up some of the finishing touches.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I saw this on whose page? Maybe Rory Sharrock's page. The green, is there going to be some sort of light show where, the thing nowadays is, okay, so you know what I'm talking about, but you're already shaking your head.
No, because Southern has those lights now.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything to our lighting system yet. Didn't have the budget for it. So that hopefully will be a part of the the final phase of when we address ADA and the restrooms and concessions, some of the other stuff. We'll address the lighting system too.
EA, you're being messy. Don't be messy, EA. Asking with a play clock work. Yeah, this is all right. And I think some of the other photos, fingers crossed. I saw some of the other photos, Kelvin. We've already seen from previous shows where we showed the parking lot. Again, so again, those are the parking lots already done. The spaces
looks
are
nice.
There.
They've opened it up. The day was the first day you could drive through it. They've opened up the parking lot now.
Yeah, don't come in there with your leaky oil cars and parking spots, leaving oil stains in the spaces. Talking about this is my space right here. Now don't do that, folks. Don't do that. Can we at least have it? Can at least be nice for at least a week? Can we get a week before something happens? I'm just asking. All right. So we got a scoreboard watch here. Week 2 scores from around the SWAC. Man, it was a tough day for a couple of teams that took some 70 burgers. Texas Southern, Grambling. Congratulations to Coach Woody and Bethune-Cookman getting their first win over Savannah State, 31-6. Of course, Jackson State goes into the Bayou and pulls out a 27-14 win. So really, in essence, you only had 2 SWAC schools get a win. No, excuse me, 3. Alabama A&M with a 51-13, but they're playing lane. Yeah, I had to preface that. Kelvin's UAPB Golden Lions lost to Tennessee State on a blocked field goal. Under a minute to go? Under a minute to go? A blocked field goal that would have tied the game at 17.
Yep.
Ends up turning into a touchdown for Tennessee State, and it goes up to 10.
And that's after being down 17-0. Offensively, they really didn't play a good game in the first half. But the second half, they came out, in toward the middle of the third, all the way to the fourth. They came out, they made adjustments. Yeah,
they never led.
They're a good team. They're a good team. They're gonna get somebody. We don't play them, so
hold on. Is that part of the dude theory? Does that go along with the dude theory? They're gonna get somebody. Yeah. All right. Looking back on our picks from last week, Kelvin and I were both on the side with Jackson State. Marcus thought Southern was going to rebound. Sorry about that, Marcus. Marcus did, however, turned around. Fair play. I see Kelvin had me sipping the Kool-Aid, messed around and lost the Southern Heritage Classic as Marcus ends up getting the only win for the Tennessee State UAPB contest. Now, I think when I asked the question, Texas Southern at Toledo, Grambling at LSU, I think the question I asked, would anybody get a win? And flat out, we all won that because we all said no. So we were all on that side of the board. Kelvin and I were simpatico with our Abilene Christian pick over Prairie View. Marcus, you were sipping the Kool-Aid on that one. I was smart enough to pick Stephen F. Austin, while you two guys took Alcorn.
Don't trust the West.
Don't trust the West.
Out of conference, don't trust the West. That's the lesson.
By the way, did you know the SWAC West only has 1 win in 2 weeks? I mean, and that was a SWAC West versus West showdown. But nobody has won a game in the West. Unbelievable. Savannah State at Bethune. I have it on here, but I don't think I don't know what we did.
I don't remember picking that one.
Yeah, maybe we stayed away from that one. And then of course the upset of upsets was and I didn't mention it there, but Miles College beating Alabama State. Alabama State at home, coming off of a win against Southern. And then they turn around and lay an egg to in-state rival Kelvin and Marcus. You were on that. I don't know why I have none there. Maybe I didn't think Miles could win, or maybe I didn't think Alabama State would lose. But props to you two guys for picking correctly for that. Bold predictions. Let's see. Kelvin come away the week 1 winner in bold predictions because of the score. Marcus comes away as the winner in bold predictions for week 2 because Marcus said that Jeremy Musa would throw for over 250 yards, and he well surpassed that. No special teams touchdown for you, Kelvin. And once again, my pick 6 was denied. Look, I'm going to go somewhere else this time. You watch. This time it'll happen. Yeah, I'm going to go somewhere else this week. But sure enough, as I do that, you know what's going to happen. And so it's like, damn, pick 6. Okay. Okay, let me go to our upcoming week here. So that way we can keep the show moving.
Ooh.
Okay. These are some of the SWAT games for this upcoming week. You got an interesting matchup. Mississippi Valley State traveling to Delta State. Did you guys see the video? Now, we're not doing any picks just yet, so just hold on to your picks. Did you guys see the fight between, or I don't know if it was a fight, but yeah, it was a fight. The Shawan versus Delta State sideline brawl.
No, I didn't see that one.
No.
Oh man, go check my Twitter timeline. It should still be rather fresh.
Didn't Jackson State and Southern have a little scuffle at the end?
It happens with it every time there's a flag involved and you're on the visitor's house. So Jackson State came running out there with the J and the S and the U, and sure enough, they came right to midfield, and Southern players or somebody took offense to it, and it's like, y'all want to fight now? Where was this fight in the game? That's what I always say. When you lose, they should. Yeah, that's why I like what Florida State used to do. Florida State used to grab turf off your field, and people would walk away with the sod with a handful of sod. That's what you get when you lose and you don't protect your house. But anyway, this upcoming week also, let's see, Grambling is hosting Florida Memorial. Arkansas Pine Bluff is hosting Miles. Yeah, those are the afternoon contest. And then as we get into the evening,
a lot of D2 games this week.
Delta State's usually no joke.
No. For Division II. Well, Florida Memorial is not a Division II, but as an NAIA, we would qualify them as sort of like an under D1 level. NAIA would probably be equal to Division II. Alcorn's hosting McNeese State. Prairie View's traveling to Southern Methodist University. There's a big matchup right there. Alabama A&M and Southern in Baton Rouge. Texas Southern. How about that? Cats and dogs.
I love Cornell Maynard, man. That's my guy. He's always entertaining.
Hey, you remember the soundbite from the coach about dogs? He's like, we don't want no dogs. There were no dogs around here. I felt like somebody should have played a clip about dogs and cats. Man, I got this cat here and this cat, man, with no dogs. I don't want no cats around. I want some dogs. Like that is Alabama A&M versus Southern. Dogs versus cats. We'll give our predictions coming up here shortly. Can Texas Southern avoid getting 70 get put on them by a second consecutive team.
Off the bandwagon.
Boy, look.
I don't know about Rice. I mean,
They're competitive.
I'm jumping off the bandwagon so fast. Might have a few scuffed knees as I'm jumping. That's how hard I'm preparing to fall. And then Jackson State traveling to Texas State, who is not. Look, they lost to this team a couple years ago in a winnable contest. That was like a field goal game. This was like Shadur's freshman year. They could have beat Texas State, if I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago.
This ain't a couple of years ago.
Texas State is ranked. Look, my Phil Steele guide tells me Texas State is ranked last in their division there. So
didn't they pull off a week win upset?
Oh,
yeah, he ain't paying attention.
I haven't paid. Who they beat?
I forgot who they played, but it was somebody's like, huh?
Hold on, let me go to my book
they
here.
Sure did. You're absolutely right.
Oh my goodness!
I can't remember who. I don't think it was Texas A&M, but it was somebody.
Somebody knows who they beat. My goodness.
You done messed up.
All right. Hold on before I wait a minute. Oh, Jeremiah Clark corrected me. Nope, they didn't play 2 years ago. They played Louisiana Monroe. Thank you for that.
That was like a 12-7 game or something like that.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification there. Okay, so
they upset.
They beat Baylor. They beat Baylor.
Oh my. Okay. Ooh, Jesus. Okay, so now I have to rethink.
And they lost to
University of San Antonio.
Yeah, they lost by it was 20-13.
And then you stack on the comments by TC Taylor, who's tired of playing on the road and out of his suitcase. Man, look, I don't know what the point spread is going to be, but I might be laying all my money with Texas State this week. I'm just saying. All right, let's go to the picks contest here for this upcoming week. I got 5 type games here for you. And you guys in the chats, you follow along too. Let us know. I'm going to go from 5 to 1, which I think is the most interesting. So number 5, I'm going to call this which HBCU versus FBS matchup. Which HBCU is most likely to win? So again, the candidates are Jackson State traveling to Texas State, Texas Southern traveling to Rice, or Prairie View traveling to SMU. Again, who is most likely to win? As I see Kelvin shaking his head already.
D, none of the above.
I would say Jackson State.
A better question is, who's most likely to keep the game within 30 points? And that is, and Marcus is correct. That would be JSU.
So you like? Oh, wow, a lot of people chiming in with none of them. Jeez, Marcus, are you joining that bandwagon, or what are you saying here?
I mean, Texas State shocked Baylor at the beginning of the year, but then they flopped the next week against UTSA.
Well, UTSA, didn't they go to a bowl last year? If I'm not mistaken?
I think so. I forget the last year they were like 10-1 or 11-0. They were good.
Yeah, they're a solid squad now.
So what are you going with here, Marcus?
The best chance to upset, if that's the question, I still say Jackson State. Will it happen? Yeah, we'll see.
See, I feel like when we go off script, I feel like you should get like -2 points, Kelvin. If somebody wins for not making a pick, like you get minus.
I made a pick.
That's not the answer.
But honestly, It's
The
D.
question is, who's most likely?
The answer, regardless of the question is, the answer is D. None of the above, but or D. D. Get it?
I get it. So that's fine. You can stick with your answer. I'm just telling you, Marcus, I'm serving notice here. When we do this, because I think I was guilty of it too last week. When you totally lose, you lose -2 instead of even a point. Hold on. Let me see. Jeremiah Clark says if JSU wears the block on both sides of him. That's an interesting statement, Jeremiah, because now I'm assuming is the block the traditional blue and white, because I've seen all kinds of different colors from the JSU helmets in the first 3 weeks. Is that what he's referring to? The traditional blue and white?
Yeah, I believe that's what he's talking about.
I would agree with you on that. I'd be a little triggered if I was all this changing of the logos and stuff, man. Where's the tradition? Get back to the tradition. And anyway, I don't care what y'all do. Jackson State, I ain't good. All right. So there's our choices. Moving to number 4. And this one's called the under D1 versus SWAC. So this is the under D1. This is the non-Division 1 versus the SWAC. Who is most likely to lose? Which SWAC team is most likely to lose? The candidates are UAPB versus Miles, Grambling versus Florida Memorial, Valley versus Delta State. And I'm not putting us in West Florida in this conversation, so the hell with anyone who's asking. But those are the 3 I'm putting in this contest. UAPB versus Miles, Grambling versus Florida Memorial, or Valley versus Delta. Who is most likely to lose? Ooh, I'm seeing people coming in quick and hard with Valley.
Are you asking us? Yeah.
It's Valley.
Yeah. I agree. And Delta State's coming in as the number 6 ranked D2 team.
Hey.
Now, I don't know what suspensions they're going to have from that scrap they had. So that might have an impact on it. But, I mean.
No, I don't think there's a lot. Those suspensions, most of those suspensions, I believe, were levied to Shawan. I don't know if Delta State, because that happened on the Shawan sideline, man. The Delta State kids were the victims. Yeah, guys swinging helmets, and man, that was ridiculous. And then you had fans along the fence. That was nuts, man.
Gracious.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, go check my timeline again. I have it on there on my Twitter handle. On my
Delta State almost beat D 2 years ago.
Yeah, they almost did.
Yeah, that was a tough game.
Yeah,
they almost did. So I think consensus seems to be Valley and UAPB by most of the people here. What say you guys? Marcus?
And what was that question again?
So the question is, who is most likely to lose? UAPB, Grambling, or Mississippi Valley?
Oh, I already answered that. Valley.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Valley. We said Valley. Yeah.
I'm going with you. I'm going UAPB. I mean, I could go with the easy. I could go with the easy win and say Valley and be right there with y'all. But I just want to come back and gloat at Kelvin, because he'll probably tell me
he just want to eat crow. He just want to eat crow.
No, I just want to come back and be able to tell Kelvin when he comes back and says, "Man, UAPB played so well in those first 3 quarters, and then I don't know what happened in the 4th." I'm just gonna be like,
I don't know why he hating on UAPB.
I'm not. Well, you know why I'm hating? Nah,
that mean old lion.
It's petty. It's petty. It's petty. I would say something, but I'm not. No, I mean, look, it's y'all. It's all of you guys who are trying to sell me on an 0-2 team. That's by telling me how great they look. I'm like, they're 0-2. Anyway, okay, our 3rd game, McNeese State at Alcorn State. This is a game I believe that Alcorn won on the road. No, who was it? Prairie View?
No, I ain't saying that. Don't trust the West. You talking about UAP? Hey, let me tell you something. You talking about UAPB is 0-2. Hell, ain't all the West 0-2?
Oh yes.
Outside of a Prairie View?
Prairie View, outside of Prairie View, yes. The whole West is 0-2, yes.
Okay.
All right. So it sounds like you're going with Meek State.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. What about you, Marcus?
Yeah. I don't know what McNeese is doing this year, but yeah, I'll go with them.
I like Corn. That's all I'm gonna say. So that's where I'm putting my don't trust the West, but I'm gonna make the mistake, and all because I like Corn. Okay, now here's a East versus West matchup. This one counts. So Southern has played 2 SWAC opponents already. Those didn't count. This time the Cats
they count.
are hosting the Dogs. The Cats are hosting the Dogs. Alabama A&M traveling to Southern. Who you guys like in this one? This one counts in the standings. Damn, John Taylor's got me thinking. Can I say too late to switch my pick? Oh, you like them Dogs.
I like that. Hey, I liked them from the beginning. I told you that was my surprise team. I picked them to be number 2 in the East.
You did.
I'll wait for them to play JSU.
What do you got there, Marcus? A lot of people coming in on the Alabama State side. Is this just anti-Southern talk?
I just can't see Southern going 0-3.
I can't either. But I think I can.
Man, have you seen them suits? Have you seen them fake Louis? I believe.
Oh wow! No, you're being real messy right now, Kelvin. You're being real messy.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Oh man.
They still is Blood still their quarterback?
His blood is thicker than water.
Don't trust the West.
But, man, the theme is heavy right now. I got who'd you say, Marcus? I missed it.
I'm a pick Southern.
Oh man, you said that with such confidence.
He's so confident in that pick. He sounded excited.
Confident. I like Dogs. I'm going with the Dogs. I mean, the dog is bigger. The dog's bite is gonna come get Southern.
Hey, so Southern will win a game when Dooley stopped wearing them Gucci's on the sideline. He got to put on some SU gear or something. That's when they'll win. That's my prediction. That's my bold prediction.
Y'all hating on the fact that the man wears an ass. You know what? What's funny is folks were praising Dooley's fit all of 2 seasons ago. I guess it's because he was winning. Now y'all ripping the ascot. You're ripping the shoes. I mean, he might not even be wearing socks with the shoes. I mean, y'all just like nasty with it. Y'all just real nasty with it. Okay. And the last game I chose is a non-SWAC game. They call this the battle or the battle for the real HU. Hampton versus Howard in Audi Field in Washington, D.C. Hampton has owned this series this decade.
Did Hampton just lose did they just lose to Norfolk State? Did I say that right?
Not statistically.
No. Did they lose the game?
Not statistically. I'm on the scoreboard. Yes, they lost.
Hey, well, that's all that matters, right?
Not always, Kelvin. Not always.
Oh, it always matters.
Sometimes stats matter. Who are you going with, Kelvin? I want to hear your
You a
answer.
stat. You a stat guy. You a stat guy.
I am a stat nerd. Who are you going with?
Yeah. I'm going with Howard, man.
Yeah, I knew you were. I knew you're going with Howard. I knew you're going to Howard. Look at all these other people here. There's
I'm gonna say Howard.
Oh.
But is what's in it? Is Eden James back yet? I know he got hurt in that Eastern Michigan game.
I don't know. I like this name, the other bougie classic.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. I don't know if he's back or not, to be honest. Are you
I'm still gonna pick Howard.
You're still gonna pick Howard? All right. I call them affectionately Howard because the H has been taken from them the last 6 seasons and 17 of the last 20 years. They played 21 times this century. Hampton has owned that ass. I'm going with Hampton. and they have taken the H and slapped Howard across the face with it.
This is a different year.
That's what they've said the last.
If you tell me A&T and Central, now Central is owning A&T ass.
now I will say this is one of those MEAC versus CAA games, which is all of a sudden a big talking point.
And the MEAC is like 3-0 right now, right?
Yeah, the MEAC is on the verge of putting together some nice numbers against the CAA, which is kind of crazy. But so if Howard were to win this, that would go a long way towards that would go a long way. Let me just put it like that. That would go a long way. All right, so
they might get a team in the playoffs.
Man, look.
Whoever to win out of Morgan Central, Morgan got a win over ranked Richmond already, and they should have had a win over D1. If they finish like tied with Howard or Central, they got a legit shot. So does Central.
Well, I mean, look,
they got a shot. They got a shot.
That's the one thing about the way the MEAC schedule is set up is people can, because there's so many there are more non-conference games than there are conference games. So you really do give yourself a strong footing. And so if these MEAC schools, and that's assuming they don't beat themselves up, like, end up all with 2 losses in conference play, that'd be MEAC-ish.
Right.
That'd be true MEAC-ish, where they all end up with 2 losses. Or at least 3 teams end up with 2 losses. And then you're stuck trying to figure out the tiebreaker system will be new because there won't be multiple champions this year. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Let's see. All right. FAMU, West Florida. Some keys. What are some keys or some things that you are looking for that you want to see materialize, Marcus, in this contest?
I want to see us establish the run game. I'd like to see a game plan similar to the Jackson State game, to the OBC, where we reestablish the run. One thing I've noticed, and I don't know, looking at the number of carries, it seems like we're leaning on Jacquez Yant and Terrell Jennings a lot. And this is casting no disparities towards them, but I want to see Kelvin Dean have a breakout rushing game. I want to see a breakaway touchdown. I'd like to see Musa over 60% passing, 65 preferably, no turnovers, efficient game, and I'd like to see the defense. Despite a very formidable D2 team, I want to see a defensive performance similar to what we saw in the OBC. Now, granted, we had FCS opponent, then a group of 5 FBS, and now we're at D2. So I know it's not apples to apples in terms of talent, depth, and all that type of stuff. But I think a good jumping off point for getting into the conference play would be a resounding, confident win. And that's what I want to see, especially on dedication to Ken Riley.
Mm-hmm. All right, Kelvin, what do you got?
Clean game, meaning no turnovers. We'll win just with that alone. I'm telling you, I said it before the season, that what differentiates this team from previous teams and everybody in the SWAC is our defense. I think Coach said, and I hadn't looked it up, but I believe Coach said, and I think he's right. We're leading the Division I in sacks. It might be for tackles for loss too. So this defense is special. He mentioned, and he was absolutely right. USF had 550 something or so yards of offense against Western Kentucky. We held them to like 30 or 306, somewhere around there. So this defense, I believe in this defense. I believe in home field advantage. I do believe West Florida will come in and try to get off to a good start, and there might be some filling out. I do believe that they won't be intimidated. But ultimately, I just believe we're a deeper, more talented team, and at some point, it'll play out that way. Now, but clean game, and then Musa completion percentage. That's important. We have to running the ball, and then Musa getting over 55%. I think that's key.
Mm. Right now, we're 23rd in total defense in FCS. I haven't looked up the sack numbers. I'll look that up in a minute. Central. Oh, you look at the top 10, you got Central, Morgan, Alabama State, and Jackson State at 11. And Howard 17. So we're playing some defense in HBCU ball. I mean, that was early. We're playing out of conference games, but a couple of us got FBS games and still in the top 25.
Mm-hmm.
FAMU is currently in a 15-game home winning streak, second longest in FCS. FAMU has two of the top returners in the nation, and Marcus Riley, who is second in the nation in kick returns with an average of 38.2 yards per kick return, and Jamarie Shareed is first in punt return yardage, 31.7 yards per punt return. Jamarie is third in the nation in all-purpose yards. Of course, he had 195 yards in the opener versus Jackson State. You know how I like my numbers. So, I charted at the beginning of the year what the data analytics thought about this game, Massey ratings. You'd be surprised. Massey ranked Florida A&M as the second best HBCU team, but they only gave FAMU a 40% chance of winning. Actually had West Florida winning this contest 31-27. That was preseason before any games were played. I go and take a look right now. FAMU has a 48% chance of winning. So essentially, it's moved to a pick-em according to the data analytics. West Florida with a 1.5 point margin, which is mind-numbing to think that the computers think we're an underdog. We're going up against a nationally ranked team.
We're nationally ranked.
Let me get there. Yes, we are. And this is going to be a closer game that I think a lot of us are going to care to want to see. Now, that's unless we are executing in all phases sort of perfectly. I don't think you can't beat anybody when you turn the ball over as many times as we did. And so that's the real question. Kelvin talked about playing a clean game. If FAMU can play a clean game, I think we can win this game. We're in for a dogfight if we give up a couple of turnovers in the first half, and especially depending upon where we turn the ball over. So I don't know what to sort of, I'd love to make my bold prediction again on a pick six or something of that nature. I think Terrell Jennings has been a great. Let's see, he had two touchdowns against USF, rushing the ball. I think this game is a Jaquez Yant game. So my bold prediction is Jaquez Yant over 80 yards rushing, 2 scores. Over 80, 2 scores by Jaquez Yant. What's your bold prediction, Marcus?
I'm going to say Jamari Shareed punt return. Touchdown.
Okay. Change.
No. Let me change. Let me get a.
I'm gonna put it on here because if it happens, you can be mad at yourself.
Okay. I'm gonna say a Javen Morgan interception.
Okay. I'll give you both of them. It's fine. Yant over 80. What I say? Yant over 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. All right. Kelvin, what's your bold prediction?
I think we're going to run collectively for over 250 yards this game. And I'm predicting we'll win by at least 18. We're going to pull away.
18 plus, huh? That would be impressive. That would be impressive.
If we run for 250 yards, we're going to win by that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. These games, they're usually no workable or real good lines that you'll find. Most books don't usually mess with Division II versus Division I or / FCS. But if I find one, I may tweet it out. I'd be curious to see if there is anybody bold enough to put some line out there, because there's no way any reasonable sports book is going to put 2 ranked teams, right? A top 25 ranked FCS team, a top 10 ranked Division II team, and you're going to make the Division II team on the road the favorite? No book is that crazy to do that. That's
especially after the South Florida game, to show you how much respect we got around the country. We didn't drop out the polls in any poll.
No, and I don't think we should have, because I think anybody who can look at that, and I'm not going to use the SI word, but anybody who can look at that game and can kind of see, man, you guys gave them 5 turnovers, and where you gave them those turnovers at, you should have lost. So, but you played pretty good ball regardless of those 5 mishaps. That had you'd lose sleep thinking about that. Okay. All right. All of our bold predictions are in. Again, Marcus goes with Jamari Shareed punt return touchdown or a Javen Morgan interception. I went with Jaquez Yant rushing for over 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Kelvin, thinking with the rushing theme here, says as a team, we rush for over 250 yards, and as a team, we win by 18 plus points. So, if you guys have bold predictions, you can send them in to us on the email. ONGStrikeZone@gmail.com is the email. You can also hit us up on Twitter. You see it right there in the handle. Or on the scroll, you can hit us up on Twitter or X or whatever the kids call it these days. You can hit us up there and let us know what you think. Or you can even let us know on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram @ONGStrikeZone, where you can find us. Go download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. MyJBN, MyBCSN is where you can find that app. And also, we are part of the BCSN Pod Zone, which is also an opportunity to download all of the shows that are part of the Black College Sports Network. Those of you watching on YouTube, take advantage of becoming a JBN member. You can support the Black College Sports Network by becoming a JBN member. Support our show even. We'll be dropping some upcoming content, first watch interviews, even some special shows. I know we've been doing our post-game shows, free, but who knows? We might put it for JBN members. So don't delay. Go ahead and become a JBN member right there. youtube.com/myjbnonline/join. You can always make a contribution or donate to the show right there via Cash App. You can hit up the Super Chat. All of those ways are open and available, and we appreciate any contributions that you guys provide, so that helps us keep this thing going. Kelvin, have we thought about where we're going to do pregame and what time we might do a pregame show? I figure we can talk about it.
Yeah, we'll pin that down. There's some options.
Okay, so we're gonna post that on the gram or on X, one of those two places. We'll let you know where the pregame show is, and so maybe you'll come join us, be a part of the pregame show wherever we are, if we have that ability to do it, and then be looking out for the postgame show. Won't be as late as it was last week, hopefully, and so that'll give us an opportunity to talk about the game. All right, fellas, it's been a fun show. Ready for this contest. Looking forward to traveling to Tallahassee somehow, some way. I'm gonna find my way up there, and we'll make it happen. Marcus, any final thoughts as we close down the show tonight?
Looking forward to the game. Coach Simmons, don't make me too nervous, and just looking forward to the wrap up.
Kelvin,
don't trust the West. Stick with the East.
That's one of the most powerful, impactful things I think you said. Don't trust the West. Yeah, you're right. I wish I could go back and change. These picks are solid now. They're recorded. What did the kids say? They're on wax. So yes, it's I can't change them now. Although I really like to change one or two of those picks now. What was I thinking? Okay, well, it is what it is. So we'll root. The game is on HBCU Go. So again, want to encourage you. It's a 6 p.m. kickoff. HBCUGo.tv or .com, one of the two. Download the app. If you're not going to be going to Tallahassee, if you're in the area and you can make it, get to Bragg Memorial Stadium. I know they're doing all kinds of special promotions for kids, for families. So there's no excuse, no reason to not start off by bringing your family and your friends to the home kickoff. The Marching 100 will be there, and so it should be fun. Should be a great opportunity to watch FAMU football, and hopefully FAMU will take care of business and get back on the winning streak and start a new streak rather, and take care of business at home. So that's going to do it for this show. We'll see you in Tallahassee. For Marcus Green, Kelvin Rozier, I'm Bryan Fulford. Bangs up, Rattler Nation. Make sure to go at them hard. Make sure to strike, and strike again. Peace out, everybody.